right, man. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Um, Devin Haney. Now, what's so funny? I talked to somebody last night, and they said they spoke to Bill, um, and Bill said that they were not interested in fighting Ryan Garcia anymore. That they ain't even concerned about the rematch, right? And I said he dropped out of Vada. So I'm thinking maybe there's some old shit, And now I see Tukun, the superstar, said something about it, and Devin responded. Um, so um, so let's take a look at it. And then it's an article that popped up that said Ryan is in Vada. So we're gonna tie this all together. Excuse me. So here we go. We have it right here. So and shout out to the pound for pound, pound for pound, right? He says, Tukun, the superstar, say if Ryan wins and looks sharp, does that put him back in the mix for you, or you focus strictly on new challenges at 47? The ship sailed when he dropped out of Vada testing. So this is what I heard last night. That's what I heard last night. I mean, honestly, bro, it is what it is. I didn't really care to see the fight anyway. Because I already knew Ryan Garcia for years. And I said this before, and I don't want to say it sound redundant, but I told Bill years ago, bro, when I had the green screen, I'm on the phone with him like, bro, Ryan on that shit, they say. Allegedly they say Ryan on that shit. And all the guys, bro, that's on shit, man. People, like, if I know, then other fighters know. You know what I'm saying? So that's the crazy thing about it. Like, I knew this 4-5 years ago, I knew. We had these conversations, and I told Bill, man, I said, make that motherfucker test. You better make that motherfucker test. I'm just saying what was being said. Just like the Canelo Kovalev, allegations of him taking a dive. Bro, we was talking about that in 08, 09 about Golden Boy. So a lot of these talking points that I'm speaking of, bro, they've been for years. Like, y'all see me talking about Al Heyman, but, man, for years, bro, that's been going on. And, but, we've been through it. And we know how PBC rocking. You know how PBC, they rocking, bro. And I'm about to switch over to the article. Because, PBC will only announce testing a few weeks out. From what I see with them, they allow their fighters to pop. They enable this shit, dog. That whole company don't have any integrity for the sport. Integrity with the sport died with that company. You know what? When something becomes trendy and it works for somebody else, everybody else follows the business trend. They follow the business trend. Respectfully, they follow it. They follow it. So everybody else was just, following the trend. So, you had Oscar Rivas with Eddie Hearn. They let Dylan White, pop hot versus him and let him fight without him knowing. I mean, how many fights you think got swept under the rug and a motherfucker popped hot and these whole ass fighters took some money, probably wasn't no real money, took a couple dollars under the table. And they took a couple of dollars under the table and they still let the fight commence. These fighters, as you seeing, niggas sitting with Aiden Ross and niggas sitting there cooning and they interviewing with niggas who hate them. I'm telling y'all, bro, they showing you right then and there by their actions there that where their allegiance really fall at. But Ryan Garcia enters WC program before the Barrios title fight. I haven't read this yet. Ryan Garcia entered a drug testing program required for the WC title eligibility before his welterweight fight with Barrios was publicly announced, clearing the path for a sanctioned fight moving forward. The WC confirmed Garcia and Barrios both satisfied the mandatory 14-day weight check on February 24th. ahead of their February 21st fight that nobody's talking about. Barrios weighed 153 and Garcia came in at 154.2. I believe they had to be within 10 pounds. My bad. Both had was inside the allowed limit of 155 pounds, so 8 pounds. The weight check is a part of a structured compliance tied to the championship fights alongside random drug testing through Vada. Early testing enrollment. Garcia's eligibility depended more on the weight alone than depended more than the weight alone. Both fighters had already agreed to an extensive pre-fight drug testing before the bout was formally announced in January, meaning Garcia had to re-enter WEC's testing structure in advance of the receiving the title approval. The timing allowed the sanctioning process to move forward without delay once the fight agreement became public. So that just lets you know the fight agreement only became public when they did the press conference. So when did they do the press conference? It wasn't nothing but like 2 weeks ago. So, there you have it. What's early enrollment? Right before the press conference? A week before? So that's still January. That's still what? 6 weeks testing, if that. So this that's sequence carried important given, Garcia's recent disciplinary history. We already know what happened. Eligibility start by enrolling and testing early. And that's the thing. You think, he enrolled into early as what? 6 weeks out? Because when you start talking about the press conference, hold on. Let's see when the press conference was. 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, so if I can pull up my calendar. So this week, 2 weeks. So like the last week or two in January. So let's say it's the last, let's give them January 19th. Let's just be nice. That's 1, that's 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's only like, come on, it's only been 3 weeks of testing. If they have 3 weeks of testing, 4 weeks of testing. We all know Pacquiao's thing with Floyd was like, oh yeah, can we test at least 10 days? Can we stop testing at least 10 days out? We know what it is. We know what it is, bro. So, what Devin is talking about is he unenrolled in Vada. The WBC Vada program is not the same as the Vada 365. Somebody exposed that the WBC Vada program may only drug test you. It may only drug test you once or twice randomly throughout the year. It's not they testing you all the time, which it costs money. And the WBC ain't in the business of losing no money. So it's not a testing. You don't know when they coming. So that's the thing. If they come once, twice a year, you don't know when they coming. So that's the thing about it, but it's not the same as 365. It says, WC 365. No, it's just they come once, twice a year. So at the end of the day, Devin said he, basically unenrolled from Vada. Then he just re-enrolled. So there was a period where he wasn't even enrolled. He only enrolled for this fight. So, at the end of the day, Devin said he moving on. And will Ryan Garcia be juiced to the gills for this fight? That's going to be people. If he look strong, he look, better. That's what some people going to say. But a lot of people like him because he's popular. They can overlook that. And I tell you that all the time. There's different rules for different folks. When people feel like, they feel like, one person do something, they willing to overlook it. They wouldn't overlook when Tank do things, they willing to overlook it. When Ryan do things, they willing to overlook it. When Devin do things, he get criticized for it, whether it's right, wrong, or in between. But a lot of that's carried out by the algorithm. The algorithm tells people who to like, who to dislike, who to rock with, who to not to rock with. The algorithm be telling y'all, that's why I say, man, you got to take them tablets out your kids' hand. You really do. You really do. You really do. You really do. Don't let the internet raise your children. Don't Don't let them, you got to teach your children to be independent and in my opinion, be independent and, make decisions on their own and be leaders. Be leaders, man. But in this whole situation, he should have been left it. He should have been left it. He should have been left it Ryan Garcia alone. Leading up to that whole fight, it was a bad idea to fight Ryan Garcia. He didn't want to fight, so you knew he was going to cheat. I gave him the heads up, but niggas don't. Niggas think I really think this should be lying just to be lying. Bro, I don't have time to lie. I don't care too much about this shit to lie. Honestly. Just to keep it a bean. Just keep it. I'm just keep it a thou wow. So, I be trying to throw licks to people, help people out. I just had to learn, hey, I can't help people out no more. I can't. Figure it out on your own. Hit the link in the description. The first link is say find me everywhere you can find me. Hit that link. Find me on Patreon, X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, the whole nine. Appreciate the love, support. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Check out the Boxing News playlist. Peace.